Hello everyone, my name is Komal Pandey and today I will be speaking on collaboration diagrams in UML. So imagine you're working in a team building software system. Everyone has their own module like the database, the user interface, or the login system. How do you know who talks to whom and in what order? This is where collaboration diagram comes into play. A collaboration diagram is a behavioral UML diagram, also called communication diagram. Simply put, it shows how objects or components work together to complete tasks in a system. Think of it like a team chat. Each object is a person, and arrows show who communicates with whom. In simpler terms, you can say these diagrams visually represent the interactions between system objects and also the architecture. For example, in a recruitment system, the applicant recruiter, the database all interact. A collaboration diagram would clearly show who sends data to whom and in what order. Why are these diagrams important? There are three main reasons why this is important. Firstly, they help us visualize interactions. You can see the flow of data, control between objects, making the system much easier to understand. Secondly, they help us understand system behavior by showing how objects, behavior, interact dynamically during operation. We can identify potential problems, optimize performances, and ensure the system runs smoothly. Thirdly, collaboration diagrams facilitate communication. They're excellent tools for discussions among team members. For example, if the applicant submits the details to the database, the diagram clearly shows this interaction. Nothing is missed and everyone knows the flow of information. So, collaboration diagrams help us see the bigger picture of how objects interact, making system design, communication, and debugging much easier. So, now look at the key components of a collaboration diagram. First is objects or participants. Shown as rectangles with names, they represent entities in the system and are connected by lines showing messages. There can be multiple objects as well in a collaboration diagram. Each object has its rectangle and arrows. Actors. Actors are users or external system usually placed at the top of the slide, interacting with objects via messages. Messages, arrow represent communication, solid equal to synchronous, dashed equal to asynchronous. Self-message is also one notation in collaboration diagrams when an object sends a message to itself, showing internal actions. Links, lines showing relationships, uni or bidirectional. Return messages, dashed arrow showing the return value of a messages. Together, these components help us clearly see objects, their relationships, and the message flow in a system. Moving on, now let's see how to draw a collaboration diagram and where it's useful. Steps to draw are as follows. First, we have to identify objects. First, figure out of the objects, modules, or actors in the system. Next, we see how these objects interact to complete tasks and identify the messages they send. Thirdly, we can draw arrows between objects and show the messages, labeling them with the message name or any data that is being sent. Show any connections, that is, we are considering the relationships over here. We have to show any connections or dependencies using links or arrows. Documentation. Finally, we document the diagram clearly so anyone can understand the interactions. And why do we use collaboration diagrams? Because they help us visualize interactions, improve system design, document architecture, trace message flow for debugging. These are the use cases of a collaboration diagram. Moving on and explaining you the real world example. Now, here we are taking job recruitment system example. Here we have three main objects, as you can see: applicant, recruiter, and the database. Applicant provides personal and professional details into the database. And secondly, it attends tests and communicates with the recruiter. Recruiter, the duties or the way it interacts during the recruitment process is that person verifies login, checks job positions, and selects talented applicants. sends interview details and joining letters, works with the database to retrieve or update information. Thirdly, database stores all applicant and job-related information, sends job details to the recruiter, and receives applicant information. The collaboration diagram over here shows these interactions in order: who talks to whom and when. This helps us clearly understand the flow of information and the relationships between objects. Moving on to the next slide is when to use and the benefits of a collaboration diagram. Collaboration diagrams are mostly used in the early stages of software development. They help us see how objects work and clarify requirements, identify potential designs. They're also great for sharing the system designs with stakeholders like developers, design, and managers, the project managers. The benefits are very much clear of a collaboration diagram, that is to simplify understanding of system interaction, enhance team discussion and decision making, help visualize data and control flow for better analysis and documentation, assist in debugging by showing the sequence of interaction, as we saw in the previous example of the real world example, streamline development and reduce any kind of misunderstandings. Moving on to the next slide, that is the challenges we face during collaboration diagram or while making the collaboration diagrams. While collaboration diagrams are very useful for system designing or software designing, they do have some sort of challenges. Like it can get confusing in large systems with many objects, and the interaction may be hard to interpret, leading to all sorts of misunderstandings. Dynamic or changing interactions aren't fully captured. Making complex diagrams clear for all stakeholders can be a bit tricky. Despite all these challenges, they remain a powerful tool for understanding and documenting system interactions. So, to wrap up collaboration diagrams, they are a powerful tool in UML. They let us see how objects interact and understand system behavior clearly. They guide us in designing, analysis, debugging, and also communication, making development smoother and more efficient. In short, they help us turn complex systems into something we can easily understand and manage. This was collaboration diagram. Thank you so much.